are you doing? Welcome to Positively Spiritual. My name is Shannon Gilmore, and I am a peer support mentor helping you understand. Yeah, I was just waving around, so that's what that is. I was just waving around and churning up dust, I guess. So I think my lamp needs dusting because I was moving it about. So, how you guys doing? I'm a peer support mentor, and I'm here helping you unpack what narcissism is, what it isn't, and how you can find your way back to Christ, even though the narcissist tries to get you to believe that God doesn't exist and God has abandoned you and has forsaken you. Hello, Resistor. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, Phoebe. Nice to see you. Hello, Robert. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Nice to see you all. Yes, well, we are going to get into it. The house that Freud built. See, there's two men. Let me get in close. There's two men that stood at the birth of modern psychology. One asked, what wounded you? The other asked, what are you striving for? Sigmund Freud, he taught the world to dig. But Alfred Adler taught the world to rise. So Freud said, your past chains you. Adler said, your purpose frees you. One built a house where pain is endlessly analyzed. And the other handed you a compass and said, walk out of that house, you're free. Modern psychology chose the house, while healing was standing at the threshold. Hello, everyone. My name is Shannon Gilmore, and welcome to Positively Spiritual. Today, we will discuss the great deception in psychology that keeps people divided within. Yes, Resistor, thank you very much. The topic for today, the title of this video is The House That Freud Built, How Narcissism Was Promoted by Design. You see these fluffies? We're just gonna say that, I was moving around. I was cleaning up the space, so I agitated the air space. So it's a little bit of dust particles, I think, going around. So we'll just try to deal with those. Yeah, that was a fluffy or something. I don't know. There's dust in the air. I don't know. I did sweep. Maybe that's why when I swept, I kicked up some dust or something. So how y'all doing? Because we're going to get into this because, well, I'm a peer support mentor and I enjoy psychology, but where I draw the line is where it purposefully keeps us stuck. I don't like being stuck. Do you guys like being stuck? I don't like being stuck. I don't want you to be stuck. I don't want to be stuck. So how do we unstuck ourselves? Okay, we just got to breathe. Modern psychology was born from a split. And most people don't even realize that they chose a side. Well, we're kind of forced to choose a side. We're kind of forced to promote and, agree with the side, as we've been led to believe that the only one that is important, the only one that really exists is Sigmund Freud. See, what happened is a long time ago in 1911 or somewhere around there, there was a conversation between two colleagues, Sigmund Freud and Alfred Adler. They worked in the same city. They traveled the same circles. They had the same friends, the same colleagues, and they both asked the same question: what drives human behavior? Well, first, Adler stood alongside Freud. I can't say his name. Freud. You know, Adler kind of supported Freud for a while. He was part of Freud's inner circle. So there wasn't rivalry in the beginning. There was, well, there was camaraderie, there was, collaboration, there was bouncing off ideas of each other, figuring out what this really is, figuring out, what drives human behavior and how do we heal it. Now, I don't know, I haven't gone into Adler's background deep because I did a study a long time ago about Freud because I thought he was, they call him the father of modern psychology. So I really thought it was just him and Carl Jung. And so I did some background in Dr. Sigmund Freud. And I learned a lot. And now this is my perspective. I personally think that, Freud went on a quest to find out what was wrong with him and how to heal it. Because he lived in a time where it was actually death by hanging if you were caught in homosexual activities. And even if there was a hint that you were a homosexual, you would be jailed and you could be unalived. So he was trying to figure out how to save himself. And he discovered, well, he in his study, he determined narcissism was found among men who were, sexual deviant in nature and sex addicts. And so Freud kind of thought that our whole behavior centers around sex, even when we're kids. Bullshit. So along comes Adler challenging Freud's conclusions, and psychology is kind of cliquey that way. You make a mistake, you don't agree with somebody, you go against the grain, you're out of here, you're gonzo, right? Hello, piano fixer, how you doing? Psychology keeps God out of the picture, period, exactly. So what ended up happening is the split was, Freud's camp was going one way and Adler picked the wrong team, basically. He was kind of on his own. He wasn't by himself totally. I mean, he did have supporters, but this feud between Freud and Adler was, wow, it was shocking in its time. See, Freud, that was a Freudian slip. Freud's model was provocative, okay, and it reduced the human idea of, it just reduced us to a certain box. Oh, our problem is sexual. We're sexually repressed, we're sexually regressed, we're, sexually dysfunctional, we're, no. But the thing with Freud, his ideas centered around human motivation on instinct, sexuality, repression, pathology. And it scandalized psychology, and that's what attracted attention. Ooh, what? Here's the new thing. Here's the latest thing. Let's talk about things that aren't taboo, but they're now legitimately allowed to be talked about in, God-fearing society because, it's healthy. It's psychology after all. So let's blame everything on childhood sexuality and childhood angst, and the parents don't have to take any responsibility for it. Freud had support. Freud had funding. And Freud had a system that could be taught, replicated, and sold. Adler went the opposite way. Adler argued that humans are not driven primarily by instinct, but by meaning, by belonging and purpose. But that doesn't cut the mustard. That doesn't rake in the money, does it? Because Adler's ideas don't keep people coming to sit on the psychologist's couch every week, right? Adler promoted healing. Freud was promoting healing, but it was actually keeping people stuck. Hey, Mr. Osgood, how you doing? So to Adler, pathology was not destiny. That people are goal-directed, not prisoned by their past. Adler's views were far less useful to systems built on dependency of cha-ching, money, money, money. Yeah. So when Adler challenged Freud publicly, and ooh, this is where it got ugly. He didn't challenge Freud emotionally. He challenged him philosophically. Well, this was not tolerated. Oh, Freud had something to say. By 1911, Adler was out. You're out of the country club, buddy. Bye-bye. Don't come back. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Adler, well, you know, there's some stories say that he resigned his position or he was pushed out. We're not sure which one, but it was ugly. It wasn't that nobody left on friendly terms. Let's put it that way. And so Adler ended up founding what is known as individual psychology. Adler offended Freud and was blacklisted, like your name is mud. Not because his ideas lacked depth, oh no, but because they threatened the very foundation Freud was building. Freud offered analysis without obligation. Adler demanded responsibility, contribution, and change. So when we take a look, it wasn't Adler wasn't saying it's not wrong to take a look at yourself. Actually, we should, but we got to take responsibility and just don't blame our hormones or blame instinct or, blame whatever. It's like we have to take responsibility for our actions now, what we know about ourselves now, and we contribute to being a better society by changing ourselves. See, one model, Freud's model, you know who I side with, obviously. One model creates patients. The other creates citizens. And I had no idea, I stumbled across Adler the other day, but I just kind of dismissed it. But today is when I really started researching, and I just the stuff that we're just learning by, flying by the seat of our pants and using common sense and just using God and insight and our mode of operation on this channel is to get in touch with ourselves and change ourselves. And it turns out that, we're not wrong in this process. The point is, you don't have to fit in with modern society, and you're not supposed to. You don't have to fit in with modern psychology just because they have a book this thick, DSM-5, on modern psychology, doesn't mean it's correct. It gives us an idea, which is good. I mean, their foundation of studies is a good model to start from to act as a springboard to bounce off of, but it's not something that we eat up and digest and say this is fact. So the Freudian model of psychology creates patients and keeps them as patients. But the other creates citizens, creates people who are healing and self-sufficient and free from emotional chains. And, the psychology in that day chose the position of, or the side of psychology that could be institutionalized. Yeah, institutionalized, funded, medicated, and endlessly expanded upon. Even if it meant loving people inside the house rather than teaching them how to leave it. So, modern psychology doesn't care if you are trying to get free, if you are trying to heal. They put on this appearance that, okay, we're going to help you heal, but it gets you stuck. You keep, try this. Oh, that didn't work. Try this then. Try this model. Oh, try that modality. Oh, that didn't work for you. Oh, instead of saying, well, keep at it. No. Oh, that didn't work for you. How long did you try it? Your patient, the patient can lie and say, well, I tried it, every day for 3 hours. I was at it 3 hours every day, and this model didn't work. So what does the psychiatrist do? Okay, well, let's try this. Let's try that. And if that doesn't work, it's like, what's that? Pill popping, pill pushing. I'm going to say that psychiatrists are nothing more than legalized drug pushers. It's all about the money. So the split didn't just shape psychology. It shaped who we are today. Sigmund Freud told the world, you are driven by what you repress. Blah, blah, blah. Let me say that again. You are driven by what you repress. So we dug. We did our homework, and we dug even some more. We dug into trauma. We dug into desire. We dug into memory. We dug into blame. And somewhere along the way, the digging replaced us rising and us looking to the horizon to say, that's our way out. Adler said, well, you're not your wound. You're not your urges. You are not your past. Okay, let's look at the past. Let's address it through the eyes of who you are now. Let's address it objectively. But we're not going to look at it so that you stay stuck. We're going to look at it so that you can better understand yourself, so that you can make the choice to walk away from the past, because nobody is telling you and nobody's forcing you to stay there. That's on you. See, that's the compass that we need, and that's something that Adler gave us. He said, stop staring at the door, just walk forward. And you want to know the scary part? Narcissists love the house of Freud. Because if your damage defines you, then you never have to change, right? They just have to explain. That's why people they love the labels. They're labeled by some doctor or psychiatrist, and then they walk around the rest of their life giving an excuse for their behavior, not trying to change it, but, oh, I suffer from this. Oh, I was diagnosed with this. So everybody has to put up with it and walk around on eggshells just to appease. Okay, that's not a fluffy. Just to appease the narcissist. Just so the narcissist doesn't have to take responsibility. So healing doesn't happen in a house of mirrors. Healing happens when the ego stops digging and your soul starts moving. Okay, I'm not seeing any fluffy. What is going on here? Oh, probably from the agitation that was going on this afternoon. Yeah, there was some noise upstairs, some playing hymns and speaking in tongues and rebuking stuff up there, and yeah, okay. Anyways, so the question isn't about what happened to you. The real question is, Are you living in the house that keeps you stuck, keeps you surrounded by four walls, barricades you in that house? Or are you finally ready to follow the compass, the walk out the door and just pave your own way and stop being defined by what was defining you? See, Freud focused on instinct and pathology. Adler focused on compensation, inferiority, and power. And I think Freud probably self-diagnosed himself as a narcissist. So, of course, he's going to disagree with Adler, because what Adler had to say about a narcissist, we're figuring out on this channel too. So, Freud's legacy dominates diagnostic psychology. Adler's insights explain narcissism relationally and spiritually. Adler makes sense of narcissism as wounded striving, not the excess of self-love and egotistical, where the person is overachieving and overweening because they love themselves so much. No, Adler, again, he was the founder of individual psychology. He did not frame narcissism the way that modern DSM-5 psychology does. Instead, he understood narcissistic traits as a compensatory strategy. So what I mean is that the narcissist overcompensates. So what you see, as we talked about this the other day in a video, that the gaslighting, the lying, the manipulation, even the Darvo effect, is because the narcissist is trying everything they can to deflect the attention off of them and put it onto you, because they are overcompensating, because as soon as they hear a slight against them, as soon as they feel like somebody is against them, as soon as they feel like somebody is critiquing them or calling out their flaw, well, then they automatically feel shame. So the narcissist is trying to alleviate their feelings of shame, and so they just overcompensate for what they're feeling. They're trying to deflect. So the narcissistic individual is not confident, because even Adler believed, and we can see this just from where you guys don't recognize that we are studying narcissism. We are we're backyard psychologists, because we are studying narcissism from the textbook, but also from our personal experiences and other people's experiences. And we're coming up and putting, our heads together, and we're coming up with some valuable insight here. And we're learning that narcissism is rooted in inferiority, not superiority, right? The narcissist is not confident in themselves. They are defensively inflated. That means they overcompensate. In Adler's psychology, narcissism emerges when a person feels fundamentally small, inadequate, or powerless. That's the narcissist. They feel powerless, so they have to lie to us in order to get us to say yes to a relationship with them. See, modern psychology teaches, and this makes sense, and I'm sure you guys you might agree, you might not agree, but this is what I'm thinking, that if we really think about it, we can see that modern psychology teaches that this love bombing stage is because the narcissist feels so confident with themselves that they're sure that you're going to say yes. But really, they do that because they are hiding themselves from you. They don't want you to see how flawed they really are, because they feel fundamentally small. They feel inadequate. They feel powerless. They feel like they can't measure up to you. So, this is why they overcompensate and they start comparing. And that we've got this, all of a sudden, we're entered into this stupid, petty competition with them that we never said yes to. Excuse me, it's all a ruse. It's overcompensating for their lack of self-esteem. They can't tolerate these feelings of inadequacy. They can't tolerate them consciously because there's no filter of self-empathy, so they can't tolerate it. So they develop a fictional lie, a sense of superiority, a lie, a fabricated life to protect that ego. All of this is called overcompensation. They're exaggerating their reality. They're going overboard because the truth stops where the lies begin. The truth only goes so far. If you are, say, a rocket scientist, you can say, yes, I have a degree in rocket sciences. I have a degree in rocket sciences, but I don't have a degree in, say, understanding the weather, like predicting the weather as, what do we call those weathermen? You don't know the weather patterns. So that's where your truth is. Your truth is in rocket science, but not in recognizing weather patterns. But you have to know some sort of physics about air pressure and air dynamics for rocket science, but because you can't say anything. You can only talk to somebody about rocket science. You can't talk to them about how the weather patterns, high pressure, low pressure, this, that, and the other. So your truth is centered around rocket science, okay? Now with the narcissist, because the physics of, understanding air pressures and aerodynamics and stuff like that, it may trickle into a science of weather. So the narcissist may, say, oh yeah, I know weather sciences as well, because the two may overlap in some capacity, but like the narcissist will embellish and say, because he's had to lightly touch on in schooling, he had to do a study on air pressure for weather in order to understand how, a thermodynamic stress on an airplane wing would work at high pressure speeds at Mach 3. I don't know, like see how convoluted this conversation is getting already? Is like, whoa, complicated, Shannon, stop. Exactly. And that's what happens when you're with the narcissist. It's overcompensating. It's making something out of nothing. And when the narcissist is over exaggerating and trying to, make their lives seem bigger than what they are, it's not because they have this sense of, I'm better than everybody. It's not that at all. It's that they feel lesser than you. Hello, everyone. How you doing? Narcissists are only looking for a mirror to have a reflection of their fantasy. So Adler observed a predictable pattern. Early feelings of inferiority are found often formed in the childhood through neglect, illness, overindulgence, comparison, humiliation. Okay, so the child didn't get the nurturing that they needed. He also found that there is unconscious shame. We talked about shame the other day. The self feels defective but cannot admit it. And then there's the compensation of superiority, the grandiosity, the entitlement, the control, the domination, the image management. And then there's the defense or the dependence on the validation that they get from us. That's where we are used as mirrors to stabilize their fragile ego. And when we don't, I don't give compliments all the time because I'm not in this life to throw compliments at everybody. Oh, you're so good. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, you're so kind. Like, I'll give them out when they're due, but I'm not giving them out every half hour on the hour or every hour on the half hour, whatever the narcissist wants. I will give credit where credit is due. If you're kind to me, I'm going to genuinely tell you. But I'm not going to just out of the blue, did you know that you're so kind today? Did anybody tell you that you're so sweet today? No. We're not here to cater to other people's egos. But this is what the narcissist wants. They want their ego stroked. Hey, Jerome, how you doing? So the narcissist's confidence is not strength. It's their armor. So one of Adler's most important ideas was social interest. See, healthy people feel connected to humanity. We cooperate rather than dominate. We find a way to work together as a team, even regardless of our differences. We care about our people. We care about humanity, so we contribute, and it's to help other people. It's not about image. Adler believed that narcissistic personalities suffer from low social interest, meaning they relate vertically, like up and down rather than horizontally, equal to. I am equal to you, you are equal to me. So relationships become then tools for status, power, or reassurance. Empathy is underdeveloped or non-existent, as we now know that narcissists do not have empathy. They mimic it. And this is, it's not because they feel threatened of their fragile self-concept. It's just empathy's not there. So if empathy was there, they would be able to self-actualize and put themselves in other people's shoes, and they would be able to self-empathize and say, okay, I could have done better, but I did the best that I could with what I had. It's fine. I'll just do better next time. Now I know. With narcissists, there's no, well, I'll do better next time. There is no, oh, I didn't know what I didn't know, and now I know if this situation comes around again, I can do better. I know what to look for next time. No, narcissists don't think like that. So Adler himself, he was blunt, as narcissistic striving is not a pursuit of love. It's a pursuit of power. Why? Because power keeps inferiority hidden. If you're above everybody, you don't have to answer to anybody. If you got to answer to somebody, then you got to answer why you did that, for what reason. And a narcissist isn't going to say, well, I pinched you because you were going to pinch me first, and I just felt like you needed a pinch because, I needed to take you down a size. I need to make you feel bad because I feel bad. And now you feel bad like me, so you're not better than me. You are too happy. You're too happy, so I had to punch you in the arm just to give you a... knock you down and stop smiling because your smiling made me feel bad about myself. That's what it is. We do say that narcissists are stunted children in an adult's body. Well, that's the mentality of a child. And yes, it's that petty. It's that petty. See, If the narcissist can keep their inferiority hidden, control prevents exposure. Dominance avoids vulnerability. So this is why narcissists, they cannot tolerate criticism. They rewrite reality to protect their self-image, not yours, theirs. They compete rather than connect because they have to be better than you. Not because, you know, it's not because they actually feel like they're better. It's that it's a way for them to hide. If they're at the top, then, and they bully their way to the top, if they can stay at the top, then they're the apex predator. Nobody's going to challenge them. So that's how they hide. They hide right in our faces, right in front of our noses. So they collapse into a rage or withdrawal when their superiority fiction is threatened. This is the reason for the gaslight, the manipulation, the turning the situation around to make themselves look like the victim. Excuse me, this is why they triangulate. This is why they isolate you from your loved ones and your friends and your job and even your children. Adler would say, well, show me what a person is striving for and I'll show you who they are. Adler believed healing happens when a person abandons superiority games, accepts human limitations, develops humility and contribution, re-enters community as an equal. And the narcissism collapses when the soul no longer needs to hide. Well, now we're talking about, 1911 here. So society is a lot stronger in narcissism today than it was back then, right? So just know that there are people that express narcissistic tendencies, but they don't have the narcissistic personality disorder. And those people would probably be the people that Adler is talking about, the people that can still be helped. Narcissism to Adler was a wounded ego trying to outrun shame. I agree with that. Because what did we talk about? When you're separate from God, what happens? What takes place automatically when you become separated from God? Shame. And belonging is the opposite of shame. So when we know that we belong to God, there's peace, there's safety, there's security there. Just like Samson today in our video today, our Bible study, Samson relied on the power of God in him. He relied on that belonging. So have you guys ever heard the song called The House of the Rising Sun? Oh, it used to be a favorite of mine. I think it's by the Animals. There is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun. And it's been, what is it? It's been something. It's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And Lord knows I'm one. There is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun. You know that song? Yeah. So, and it's got a really neat guitar intro. But anyways, I know I can't sing the song worth a lick, but that's okay. It's okay. It's a good song. And that's what I think, when I think of Freud and psychology, I think of The House of the Rising Sun, this song about New Orleans. And it was a song about a brothel, about a house that was toxic, a toxic environment. And, psychology is kind of like the House of the Rising Sun, because it's been the ruin of anybody who enters unprepared, because it keeps you stuck, because Freud built the blueprint of that house. And that blueprint it dictates for us to dig endlessly. Dig, 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 dig into trauma, dig into desire, dig into repression, and keep digging. And the place to analyze and confess and stay trapped is in the basement of self. So the more you dig, the more you start like looking at yourself, and you look at how bad you did, what you did, how you did it, how bad you think you really are. Some people don't escape this trap. We need God. You take God out of the details of this and you're going to abandon yourself. And nobody's going to pick you up out of that basement. Excuse me. Freud was a person who had his own demons. So psychology is just a way for people to, I think psychology invented by or brought out by the devil in order to try to find a way back to God, perhaps, but he just keeps digging his own grave. And now it's used against us so that we don't find our freedom in God. So yeah. So humility is a sign of healthy mind. Yes, Angela. Awesome. Most of the narcissists are out to hurt you in any way they can. Yeah. A ruin of many a poor boy. Thank you, Cynthia. Yeah. Now you got my bad rendition in your head. Sorry. I like the song. Didn't know what it meant when I was growing up. Didn't know what it was. I just loved the tune. Loved his voice. Like, really loved his voice. But anyways, so we have ourselves sitting in the basement looking for the foundation of how do we build ourselves back up, and Jesus is the rock. Jesus is our foundation, right? Exactly. The melody is beautiful. Yeah. So, here we are digging, 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 and digging. And Freud himself he came up with this stuff because he was digging. I don't, I feel for the guy because his dad hurt him intimately through intimate child abuse, if you know what I mean. And so this is why Freud turned to homosexuality, because his first sexual encounter was with his dad. So he's living in the 1900s, and he's living in a time where it's illegal, punishable by jail or death. So yeah, I can put myself in his shoes, that he's scrambling to find a solution to heal himself, because he doesn't like being this way. He doesn't want to be this way. He didn't ask for this life. So yeah, he knew his problem was sexually orientated, so that's why he looked for narcissism, or found narcissism in sexually deviant men. That was his expertise, because he had a problem with that. He needed help to alleviate himself, so let me go to talk to other sexually deviant men. Yeah, and he formed a paper. It was a treatise on narcissism. And you know what ended up happening? Well, Freud had a heterosexual relationship, had a little girl, and what did he do? He did it's alleged, but it's speculated, but it was commonly known. His daughter spoke out that he did exactly to her what his dad did to him. Hello, Scarlett. How you doing? So Freud went looking, but he left God out of the details. Because even back then, they read their scripture, they knew that it was against God's law. And how can you stop participating in something that you are attached to? That is, of course, he's going to say, it's like it's instinct. Of course it is. But God could have healed him. God could have helped, coulda, woulda, shouldas. The point is, Freud, his beliefs, his treatise on narcissism, his studies, got the attention of money-hungry people who controlled the industry. But there was Adler still doing what he did for the betterment of humanity. And he said, you're not your wounds. Excuse me. You're not your urges. You're not your past. So just keep walking forward. Strive forward and strive towards purpose, connect and belonging, and contribute to society. The narcissists are trying to do that. But it only serves themselves. They actually come out of that house to, connect with us, to, not find belonging for themselves, but make us feel like we belong with them, as they assume that we belong to them. And what do? Just when we're free outside of that house, that Freudian house, boom, they take us back in it. It's maybe a different location. Maybe the rules are slightly different, but the foundation is the same. And so from the 1900s, the narcissist got a hold of Freudian psychology, and they have made it what it is today. And now, you know what? It's just been the lingo, the ideas, the modalities have just been perfected to keep us lingering. Well, this modality didn't work, so maybe I need to try this one. This didn't work. I need to try this. I have counseled people, mentored people who have been stuck in therapy for 30 and 40 years. And they're like, I'm still nowhere. Well, then why do you keep going? Because they don't know where else to turn. See, Freudian psychology just kind of keeps us stuck, saying that you're damaged goods and your damage defines you. So you don't have to change. Let's just slap a label on you, call it good enough. And you just have to manipulate your way into this world. Try to find a way to live this life as best as you can. And, don't worry, you don't have to reflect back on your own fears. There is a way out of that trap. But it's not in striving to be better. It's about making better choices. Choices informed by clarity, not manipulation. Choices that benefit the one who is actually living your life, you. Not the one offering healing, such as me or a therapist or a friend who's helping you along the way, or even the narcissist. See, when you understand the narcissist, you end up understanding yourself. Now, you're not here to understand the narcissist to fix them. You're not here to justify their behavior either. You're here to decode reality, to act in deliberate action, to take promising action towards the future betterment of your life, to reclaim your own autonomy. Because the person who truly benefits from your clarity is you, not the person who is sitting in that Freudian frat house playing games with your life and asking you to, contribute money to the game playing. This is your life, and you get to live it the way that you want. No one and no thing on this earth gives you purpose. God is your purpose. Follow him and go make plans with him. Do the work that needs to be done, yes. Dig into your past, dig into, the subconscious, dig into whatever is your fancy, because this is what it's about. It's about getting to know yourself, getting to know your ego, and accepting your egoic behavior, not in the way of continuing it, but saying, yes, I did that. Yeah, I stole when I was a kid. Yeah, I lied to mom and dad. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I pulled the cat's tail. That's not who I am anymore, but yes, I can accept that my ego loved to play those stupid, silly antics. And I can accept that. I'm not going to call myself down anymore that I'm a loser because I did those things when I was 17 years old or 15 or even 12 or 10. We're not this. Are you the same person you were when you were 10 years old? No, so give yourself a break. Freudian psychology says, okay, look at that and stay stuck. No, I guess you can't change, Well, yeah, you can change. Everybody can change if they really want it bad enough. You can't help where you've been, but you can change where you're going. Amen to that, Robert. So, healing is good. I'm not saying that. I'm not dismissing psychology. But I'm saying that don't lean on psychology fully and completely like it's your life. Use it to your advantage. Use the healing practicums, the modalities, the insights to allow yourself to see yourself for who you truly are, who you once were, and where you're going, who you want to be. Your life is your oyster. You get to decide how you want to live. You get to decide. And you get to take God with you. And God will heal you. He's healing you now. You may not think it, you may not know it, but he's healing you. So, you guys might want to take a look at the psychologist named Adler, because he had some good things to say about psychology. And he was the one who, he wanted to see us healed. He wanted to see us go do something with our lives. He wanted to see us flourish, not stay stuck. He really cared. And that's what we promote on this channel, caring. We love each other. We care for one another. We value each other wherever we're going, like whatever we're doing, whatever pain and hurt we've gone through, we're doing this together. We're moving forward together. You're not alone. So if you want to talk, you're welcome to talk. Email me or set up an appointment, one-on-one consultation for an hour. We can talk. I'm not here to diagnose you. I'm not here to, tell you what to do. I'm here to listen and give you a different perspective. And if that's what you like, well then, if that's what you need, just Let's do this. So thank you everyone for joining me tonight. Before we leave, we're going to read a chapter of scripture. And I turned to Isaiah chapter 1. So I'd like to invite you guys, join me here twice a day, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard Time. We are here to take a look at narcissistic trauma. We're here to set ourselves free by understanding the narcissist. This is not a place where we gossip and call the narcissist a son of a biatch and call them every name under the sun. I get your anger. Yeah, you're allowed to vent here. You're allowed to be angry. And you're allowed to talk about the truth about what the narcissist did. You're allowed to share your story here. But I want to say to you that in sharing, I recommend and I invite you to share, to offload those feelings of trauma, because we're not here talking about narcissistic trauma for the rest of our lives. We're here talking about narcissists for just a little while in attempts to talk about it, to alleviate the pressure and the buildup of those pent-up feelings. On this channel, we learn, we grow, and we learn by repetition. We teach by having 2 videos a day, 2 lives, plus other videos, the shorts, the other videos. You know, there's a video here that's 3 hours. Well, our lives sometimes get 3 or 4 hours long. There's a video here on 3 hours, that's 3 hours. That is a masterclass for you that's free. And it's Bible intensive. It's scriptural intensive. Like, you want healing, you've got it. So don't stay stuck. I don't want you to stay stuck, and I know you guys don't want to stay stuck. So let's read Isaiah chapter 1. The vision concerning Judah and Jerusalem that Isaiah son of Amoz saw during the reigns of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, a rebellious nation. Hear me, you heavens, listen, earth, for the Lord has spoken. I reared children and brought them up, but they have rebelled against me. The ox knows its master, the donkey its owner's manger, but Israel does not know, my people do not understand. Woe to the sinful nation, a people whose guilt is great, a brood of evildoers, children given to corruption. They have forsaken the Lord, they have spurned the Holy One of Israel, and turned their backs on him. Why should you be beaten anymore? Why do you persist in rebellion? Your whole head is injured, and your whole heart afflicted. From the sole of your foot to the top of your head, there is no soundness. Only wounds and welts and open sores, not cleansed or bandaged or soothed with olive oil. Your country is desolate. Your cities burned with fire. Your fields are being stripped by foreigners right before you, laid waste as when overthrown by strangers. Daughter Zion is left like a shelter in a vineyard, like a hut in a cucumber field, like a city under siege. Unless the Lord Almighty has left us some survivors, we would have become like Sodom. We would have been like Gomorrah. Hear the word of the Lord, you rulers of Sodom. Listen to the instructions of our God, you people of Gomorrah. The multitude of your sacrifices, what are they to me, says the Lord? I have more than enough of burnt offerings, of rams and the fat of fattened animals. I have no pleasure in the blood of bulls and lambs and goats. When you come to appear before me, who has asked this of you, this trampling of my courts? Stop bringing meaningless offerings. Your incense is detestable to me. New moons, Sabbaths, and convocations. I cannot bear your worthless assemblies. Your new moon feasts and your appointed festivals, I hate with my being. Oh, I hate with all of my being. They have become a burden to me. I am weary of beating them or bearing them. When you spread out your hands in prayer, I hide my eyes from you. Even when you offer many prayers, I am not listening. Your hands are full of blood. Wash and make yourselves clean. Take your evil deeds out of my sight. Stop doing wrong. Learn to do right. Seek justice. Defend the oppressed. Take up the cause of the fatherless. Plead the case of the widows. Come now, let us settle this matter, says the Lord. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red as crimson, they shall be like wool. If you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good things of the land. But if you resist and rebel, you will be devoured by the sword. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken. See how the faithful city has become a prostitute? She once was full of justice, righteousness used to dwell in her. But now, murderers. Your silver has become dross. Your choice wine is diluted with water. Your rulers are rebels. Your partners with thieves. They all love bribes and chase after gifts. They do not defend the cause of the fatherless. The widow's case does not come before them. Therefore, the Lord Almighty, the mighty one of Israel, declares, I will vent my wrath on my foes and avenge myself on my enemies. I will turn my hand against you. I will thoroughly purge away your dross and remove all your impurities. I will restore your leaders as in days of old, your rulers as at the beginning. Afterward, you will be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Zion will be delivered with justice, her pertinent ones with righteousness, but rebels and sinners will both be broken, and those who forsake the Lord will perish. You will be ashamed because of the sacred oaks in which you have delighted. You will be disgraced because of the gardens that you have chosen. You will be like an oak with fading leaves, like a garden without water. The mighty man will become tinder, and his work a spark. Both will burn together with no one to quench the fire. Wow. That's a heavy chapter. So God is telling the Israelites, this is, Isaiah comes after, King Solomon has died and his kingdom, Israel, is divided up between his two sons, or his son and his, King Solomon's general or something like that. So there's Upper Jerusalem, Lower Jerusalem, 10 kingdoms or 10 tribes against 2 tribes. So, wow. God's telling them, he's not giving them a warning now. He's telling them exactly what's going to happen. Since you just turned away from me, fine. Go do your evil, because you got something coming. You'd rather choose the evil over me? Then fine, live your 70 years these people lived in captivity. That's a generation. So choose this day whom you will serve. Stop serving the ego. Look at your ego. Watch the videos on this channel. If you don't know what to watch, if you're overwhelmed because you just don't know, you know what? Talk to me. Say, hey, I've got this problem. What video on your channel do you recommend? There you go. Bada boom, bada bing. Done. Done deal. I'll send you a link. I'll send you several links. Watch this one, this one, this one, and this one. Or this one and that one. Whatever. I'm here for you. So Resistor and Scarlett have been posting links to, how to get in touch with me. If you guys want to donate to this channel, because your donations help. Every little bit helps, and I thank you very much. Your donations go to a cause of supplying my needs for food and bills, rent, and helps us to meet here every day. So thank you very much. The link is in the description and in the chat. And please hit the notification bell, hit the subscription bell if you haven't. Like this video if you haven't done so already. And I just want to say thank you. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So yes, we have merch as well. We've got coffee mugs, two types of coffee. Well, two mugs for sale, and that's a different saying. Yeah, so we've got that too. I'm trying to figure out how to make some nice sweater, designs. So we're working on that too. Maybe we'll get to that after Christmas. But for now, it's just important that you show up here to these videos and see what we're about. You newbies, those of you who are newcomers to this channel, welcome. And let's just see what we're about. I didn't see any fluffies. There was nothing. So I don't know. Maybe it was fluffies. Maybe I need to dust my ceiling. After I just say that, then they start all falling. Maybe I need to dust. My ceiling's white. Maybe I need to dust it. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe that's something I'll do. I don't know. Anyways, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. God bless. Bye-bye.